Hey everyone, welcome back to Absolute Comics, the show I get together weekly with Sal and I complain about things and he complains about things and we do that all the day talking about comic books. Today, we're bitching about Batman and the X-Men and Twitter because you're all stupid on Twitter. I'm just saying it, Sal. I'm just saying it.
Today's shots fired.
Shots to be fired, I'll explain in a minute. Comics Twitter is stupid.
Yeah.
But today's episode is brought to you by Shortboxed. Use the app Shortbox to get yourself a great collection of comic books, all graded with great numbers on them, all checked by a verified source to get them for you. Help facilitate your collection today. I think that's all of it. Oh, it's also brought to you by me. Go buy my hot sauce. I have hot sauce, Sal.
I heard. I saw the picture.
You saw the
and
picture?
The website.
Yeah. We've already sold quite a few. It's in a test phase right now, but we're going to be doing more. Go get our hot sauce. That's all I got.
Yeah, I believe you are. You have right now one flavor.
Oh yeah, we have one flavor at the moment, and if this does well, we have 3 more already planned. So
3 more. Okay,
yeah.
All right. But you now, do you want to talk about how this, like, how involved are you in the tasting and the development of this?
So the recipe is originally mine, but it wasn't palatable for normal people.
Fair enough.
I made a whiskey hot sauce, had a great time with it, and it tasted like whiskey, which worked really well for me. Most people don't like that. So Houston came in, took the core concept, and turned it into an actual hot sauce. But we've been working on this project for a while now because I'm tired of being the middleman taking care of projects. So I was like, well, why don't we make our own products? And our first product is that hot sauce. It is this hot sauce and that's the name of the product. And then we can put whatever we want. This one's jalapeno infused, hatch and jalapeno, and it's whiskey infused. So
love it.
But yes, if you look up thishotsauceis.com, that is us, and we are selling the hot sauce. All right. So first off,
X-Men. You want to come? Yeah.
Well, no, I want to tell you why I think Twitter's stupid.
Oh yeah, why is Twitter? Why is X stupid?
Okay. First off, I love people that want to argue like they're a 3rd grade debater, which is like, hey, I enjoyed this event and I think it's fun, and then I get a tweet a few days later that is along the lines of like, no, you're dumb and this is great. And you're just like, what kind of an argument is this? It reminds me all the way back in the day of the moronic comic skaters. Okay, the moronic ones. The ones in the early who decided, we got to debate everyone. Debate me. And their debating was never a debate. They would just yell the exact same point over and over and over, which is why I never debated them. It was just a shouting match with them, and I can yell, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. So it was just dumb. But that's why I left Twitter originally. And I'm not going to give the guy's name out, but I tweeted out that I enjoyed Night Terrors. And for those who want to question me, I'm going to go into more of it, but I did enjoy the core plot of Night Terrors. I also
enjoyed Night Terrors.
I thought it was a great dead man story.
Oh, yeah.
Do I agree that DC put everything on hold for 2 months? No, that was stupid. Do I think that all the tie-ins were dumb? No, I thought some of them were really good.
Most of them were great. And the rest of them I didn't read. The ones I read, I liked.
Yeah, that's kind of the boat I'm in. The ones I didn't read were characters that I just didn't care about anyway.
Exactly.
Like the Ravager Night Terrors.
Yeah, I didn't read Ravager Night Terrors, but
I tried Angel Breaker issue 1, and I was like, I don't like this one.
I'll never read Angel Breaker.
I don't even know what that's supposed to be. Where did that even come from?
I think it's a Tynion invention. I don't recall, though.
But whatever it is. Anyway, I don't think it was terrible. I don't agree that they paused the entirety of Dawn of DC, but I don't think it was terrible. It wasn't great, but I think it was a hit, and it got across what it was trying to do, which was setting up the next thing and discounting the entire Justice League, basically being like, hey, no one trusts you anymore. I thought it did a great job of that.
Yeah, fair enough.
But someone decided to find my tweet. 5 days later, wanted to follow up with, I'm dumb, don't hype this, because I liked Night Terrors. So that to me, it's just comics Twitter, and this is not the first time this happened. They go hunting old tweets just so they can try to get you to argue with them.
Right. Like, no, you're saying they dug up an old tweet to argue with? Like,
yes.
If you were to say something like, I think that if they make like 6 years ago, I think that if they made an adaptation of Secret Invasion, it would be great. And then for them to do like tomorrow, go, this you?
No, well, that they do that, which is hilarious. But
Yeah.
this was just me tweeting like a week ago that I liked Night Terrors, and then somebody 5 days after that finding the tweet so they could try to get me to argue with them.
Right. Like, I just saw that you liked Night Terrors, but it's over and it sucks. How
Yeah.
could you say that? Cool.
So, but we're not here to complain or vouch for Night Terrors. It's over. We both put our thoughts out on it. Let's talk about X-Men. Because, okay, I did the video today. I'm tired of this Marvel because this is what I'm tired of, and I want to get your opinions on it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I wasn't reading much of Fall of X for the last month because I was so focused on Night Terrors. I'm not a fan of reading comics that I can't cover just yet, especially if I intend on covering them.
Right.
Because when I read it, I want to cover it. That's just how it is. Like, so, okay, let's put Fall of X over here. When Night Terrors finishes, I'll go read all of Fall of X.
Okay.
So this morning I woke up and I'm like, cool, getting into Fall of X. I got them all downloaded. What is the reading order? And the reading order is ass. It's like Hellfire Gala, Children of the Vault, X-Men 25, Immortal X-Men, Dark X-Men, Astonishing Iceman.
Yes.
It's ass. I'm tired of this shit from Marvel. What are they going for, Sal? Because there is no just Fall of X book.
No, it's not an event. It's a new status quo.
But it's not a status quo is my argument.
Yeah, it is.
All the books have 5 issues.
Right. Okay.
So that means that they're all ending in 5 issues. That's not a status quo.
Well, that's true. Well, all right.
That's my argument. It's because it's basically an event that is also a status quo change. So where's the main story? Now I did find it. This is not that argument of asking.
Yeah,
me. I mean, I've read them all, Sal.
Right, exactly. I mean, if you read the Hellfire Gala, that like kicks off the Fall of X, and it sets up like I think the status quo. Because like if you're reading Immortal X-Men or you're reading X-Men,
those are your core story.
Wolverine,
those are the two doing the core storyline.
Those are the core stories. Those are not getting canceled. Those are just going to continue to be books, and it's running through those things. Now, Fall of X also has branding on other books that I do have a problem with. For one thing, the Wolverine Ghost Rider event, which is not in any way connected to Fall of X.
I bitched about that today because you mean to tell me that in the middle of the status quo / event, there's another event.
Well, it's just a mini. There's a story arc that they clearly wrote that Percy wanted to do about Wolverine and Ghost Rider, which would have been stronger if it had been its own book that had not been tied to Fall of X. It would have been even stronger than that if they had made it a flashback story that was like, here's another adventure of Ghost Rider and Wolverine that happened before Krakoa. That would have been really cool too. Either way, it doesn't have anything to do with Fall of X except for like a few tangential, like Orcus is in there somewhere, you know, like, but who cares? That sucks.
That's what most of these spin-offs are. Like, okay, I read Children of the Vault, right?
Yes.
5-issue miniseries tied to Fall of X, which is why I'm arguing that Fall of X is actually an event and status quo change. They're actually, but Children of the Vault tangentially is linked to Fall of X. It has almost nothing to do. What it is since nobody can guard the vault anymore, they're free.
And exactly.
And what do? Nothing involved in Fall of X.
No, that's true. But
what they do is implant their own thing. X-Force may or may not.
X-Force is X-Force. X-Force is going to keep doing it. It's dealing with Colossus. It's dealing with like the next period. But like at the same time, it is like Fall of X is affecting what's happening in X-Force. So
that one
is involved. Ms. Marvel, the new Ms. Marvel book.
I haven't read that one yet. Is it directly involved?
Not even a little bit. No, yes, it is, in only as much as it's the debut of a new Ms. Marvel book. We're tying her into the X-Men. Fall of X is happening at the same time, and
and that's my complaint because there is no book. There is no this is the Fall of X book.
No.
Fall of X 1 through 8. No, if you want to follow and I wrote it all down here because this is part of my argument, and maybe this will help you with that. But if you want to follow Fall of X, it's basically located in X-Men and Immortal X-Men.
Yes.
That's your core plot, because Immortal follows Xavier sending the X-Men away, and X-Men is the remnants of the X-Men.
Yes.
Now, closely related, but might not be, we have Uncanny Avengers, which is a 5-issue miniseries, which is almost nothing to do with the Fall of X, except it seemingly will tell us what's going on with Cyclops.
Maybe. I don't think so.
He's in it. He's in it.
Is he?
Yeah, he was. Wasn't that the book where he's tied up by Stasis or Dr. Stasis?
Oh, I don't recall.
I'm pretty sure because Captain Krakoa is who the Unity Squad's gonna fight.
Yes, that's true. But that's
So
not Cyclops.
Right, and they explain that Cyclops is wrapped up somewhere else. Like that's
I
in
see.
there.
Okay. All right. Yeah, they reference it. Yeah. But so is like Iron Man should technically be part of it, but it's not.
It is
Um,
according to this because he
yeah.
fights the Sentinels. I'm like,
Right. Well, and he marries Emma Frost at some point.
right, but what
but
blows me, but it's like that's like when they included him in Carnage Reigns. Like he
yes.
just showed up in the last 2 issues. Like, by the way, you're using my tech. Like,
Right.
What are you doing here? Are we promoting a movie?
I hear you. I mean, Realm of X as well. That's also a Fall of X book, and it's also the debut of a new series. But it also is it's directly.
It's 5 issues.
Yeah, but it's also it's not a book that is born from Fall of X. It's a book that they wanted to do that is also using Fall of X to like launch itself.
Right,
You know?
and the excuse is Magic's powers are out of whack. Where did she go?
Yeah.
And I reference it as it's basically 90s sliders. Oh no, she's lost in the interdimensional web.
Yeah. Well, look at the Jean Grey book as well. Like that's another mini series that is, Jean dies. Spoilers for Fall of X, but right before she does, there's like this mini series that happens in her mind, and so we're getting that. But it's like it's because of Fall of X that we get this mini series. I think that I see it as not an event at all. I never saw it as an event. I think it's more just like a branding initiative for the current period we're in at X-Men.
But it kind of is an event because the main 2 stories are still going to keep running. Like instead of having Immortal X-Men be the core plot with Xavier, why isn't the Fall of X just that's the Fall of X book?
Because they want to tie in with all these other things. Like because of what happens in Fall of X, we can also have this story about magic with Realm of X. We can have this story about Kamala in Ms. Marvel. We can have this story about Wolverine.
That's
and
dumb.
Ghost
Then
Rider
don't
story.
promote it as a big thing. You got to
Did they promote? Well, it is a big thing because it's what's happening in X-Men. It's just not being promoted. I don't think they've been promoting it as an event. I think they've
no,
just
they have.
Saying,
it's got a reading order in the back.
Well, that's true. That's true. And the Ghost Rider Wolverine story is in there, and it shouldn't be.
Right, but that's what I mean. Like, it's not
it.
like because normally it'd be like, okay, just read X-Men, and here's this month's release.
That's true.
It's
that's
like
true. They are giving it a reading order.
X, and it's like this is the order you should be reading it.
Yeah, I don't think that you should even trust that reading order. I think it's more like these are the books that are going to be in the Fall of X period. And then when you hit the last book, we will no longer be in Fall of X. It will be the next thing.
It's just kind of, I don't know. It's
misleading. I'll grant you that.
And this is my problem with what Marvel's doing. I'm tired of them doing this. Just make Fall of X. Like, look, King in Black, I think was the last strong event Marvel did.
Yeah.
King in Black had 80 kajillion tie-ins.
I think X was the last big genuine event.
No, that was the last big event. But
nobody read it.
Yeah. I was going to say King in Black, I say, is the last successful event they read.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, you're right. We had Axe, and we technically had Dark Web also happened.
Yeah, Dark Web was an event, but Axe was a good event.
It was.
With a lot of interesting things. Nothing happened except everything.
Yeah, except the eradication of the Inhumans, but whatever. And the Eternals and
the Eternals. Yeah, it's like it was a good event. There was a really cool, and it had all the hallmarks of an event.
But King in Black had a King in Black book.
Yes.
And that book did not do very much. It was mostly the fights against Null.
That's right.
But there was like, if you are just a new reader and you want to be a part of this event, you could just go get King in Black.
Exactly.
And then the Venom book was more the actual like story. So we had 2 books running side by side that were the King in Black books.
That's true. The thing with Fall of X is I think that because we had events during the Krakoa era of X-Men. We had 10 of Swords. We had the Trial of Magneto. A couple of other.
Right. And they had a through line.
They had a through line. But I think that's over a period of several years. Like we've been in the Krakoa era since I think 2019, 2018. And we've had at least 3 years worth of X-Men that at this point, it's like, we don't need to make an event. We just say, this is the Fall of X right now. Now, that said, we could also, we're in a period where we're in a transitory phase for X-Men because Tom Brevoort's going to take over the title or the line, I should say. And Marvel's promoting it as like this kind of like, we're going to make the X-Men matter and they're going to be a big deal. And I'm like, then what the hell would you call the last 3 years of X-Men books?
I know,
because
seriously.
like you've never launched more X-Men titles than you have right now, and they're selling, and people are there's more new X-Men fans now than ever before because of all these different books. What are you going to do differently? It could be that this is like a testing ground, a proving ground for like, can we have a period in time and bill it as an event, like make the reading order just whatever is going to come out under the umbrella of Fall of X. I think that's disingenuous, and I don't think it's a very I don't think it's going to work for them in the long run. But like, I also don't think that relaunching books after like 13 issues just because we're afraid of like a book that has 27 issues in it
Which is funny because Wolverine's hitting 40 something now.
Wolverine gets away with it because he's Wolverine. Spider-Man gets away with it because he's Spider-Man. Like Daredevil can't get away with it though. You know, it's
no,
weird.
We got the 30 and they cut him off. He had to do Devil's Reign and then Daredevil again.
No more. We got issue 14s in with one creative team. But
you're not wrong.
Like, what the hell?
Let me ask you this. Okay, I'm looking at all the tie-ins. I was looking at the one that's probably going to sell the worst.
What is Fall of X? Yeah.
Why do we need to write 5 issues of Alpha Flight? Write Fall of X. Like,
yeah.
And then you do what you've been doing, which is those weird white pages in the middle that say, this is going on over here, here, and here, and here. And then you link them. Like, that's my problem. There is no just mainline linking book that keeps everything together.
No, it's true. But I think, okay, so if you look at like the books that are being spun out of Fall of X, right? We're looking at things like Children of the Vault, Uncanny Avengers, Jean Grey. We're looking at these books. Uncanny Avengers is the outlier because it's written by Jerry Duggan, and it's also like a legacy book. Like we've had that book before. But Dennis Camp is doing Children of the Vault. Louise Simonson is doing Jean Grey. And I know we're getting Uncanny Nightcrawler or Uncanny Spider-Man, which is Nightcrawler or Spider-Man. That's coming out, I think, in like the middle of or at the end of the month or something like that. That's Cy Spurrier. But like a lot of these are essentially, Alpha Flight, here we go. An Astonishing Iceman and Dark X-Men. Like if you look at Alpha Flight, that's written by Ed Brisson. Astonishing Iceman, Steve Orlando. Dark X-Men, Steve Fox. Like half of the books are being written by people who have worked on the Krakoa period of X-Men, and the other half are people who have never written for any of these books and are getting their own new titles. So I think we're doing we're taking an opportunity here to like prove these creators can work at Marvel or can carry a series. And we're also testing these characters. Like, can Iceman support a book? Can Jean Grey support a book?
They've tried many years for Iceman to support a book.
I know. And I don't think that Steve Orlando is going to be the one to crack it. But, like, as far as the rest
you know what else is in Fall of X? I just saw is listed on the list roster here. Deadpool 10. I've read Deadpool 10. You know what it has nothing to do with? He doesn't even mention the fall. He's in the middle of something. So they just wrapped that up and put.
Well, Deadpool's getting canceled.
Oh, that was the end of it right there. Yeah, Deadpool 10.
It's over.
Which is like, why are you not letting Deadpool grow as a comic again?
I don't think it's Marvel's fault. I think that like it's not growing because no one's buying it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is that a problem of Marvel's? Absolutely. But I don't know what the solution is. I guess I do. But like,
see, look right here. I've scrolled to the bottom of this. Okay.
Yeah.
Coming 2024, the new X-Men. The Fall of X is an event, Sal. It's an event. It's going to end. I give it 5 months. It's going to be a long event, but it's going to do 5 months because all these issues have 5 issues.
Yeah, of course. No, well, and it could be that they're using this as an opportunity to like. I mean, yeah. When it was promoted, I remember the big solicitation, like that big Brian Hitch page that says Fall of X and here's the reading order, August 2023. It's like, that is promoted as an event. But when you find out there is no Fall of X book, then it's not an event. It's
that's what I'm tired of. I'm tired of this. Marvel's like, join us at Fall of X. How the do I do that, Marvel?
How?
Where?
Yeah.
What do
Where
I
do? I start?
Where do I start?
Absolutely.
Where's the book I should be reading? Because nowhere why they could easily just go Hellfire Gala, Fall of X kickoff, main stories, X-Men, Immortal X-Men and X-Force, ancillary stories, Uncanny Avengers, and a couple other ones, and then tie-ins, and then you could have like Miss Marvel and Deadpool 10 and. Like this is what I'm getting tired of. Okay,
right. But if you look at,
I shouldn't have to do homework to read the events.
Oh, I agree. But this is not an event. Is Dawn of X an event? Is Reign of X an event?
Dawn of X was.
No,
it was the House of X and then Powers of X. They were literally in line.
Was there a book called Dawn of X?
Yeah, wasn't there?
No,
I'm pretty sure Hox and Pox were a thing.
No, Hawks and Pox were books, but they were not called Dawn of X, but they call the period of that
That's
time
House of
Dawn
X
of
and
X.
Power.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll give you. They call it the period Dawn of X. You're right.
exactly. But these are all periods: Dawn, Reign, Destiny. This is the fall period.
It was
So
built
like,
as an event.
oh, I know. Listen, they promoted it using event language, but I think that they would argue it's not technically. I mean, look, it is not. We both agree it's not an event. I think that Marvel would argue we never promised it would be. Now
But
they're
it-
liars, but like,
I was
it's
like,
an-
it definitely was promoted as an event. This was an
Absolutely.
event. I get your argument, and you have a lot of valid points because there is no book. Fall of X doesn't have a book.
No, exactly. There's no book. It is not an event. The fact is, there is no event. Like, there's nothing there. And I get it. I believe, like, I'm on the same page as you when it comes to like you can't follow it.
No,
You don't know which
that's my
books
complaint.
matter.
That's my complaint. Even if it wasn't a true event, I don't know what I need to read to understand the actual plot of Fall of X.
Yeah.
Hellfire Gala and then everything. Like,
Right.
and that's the complaint. Everything.
Well, that's what they want you to think. They're like, that's great. Yeah.
I mean, King in Black
Hellfire
was
Gala and
kinda-
everything.
by your own discussion here is also technically an era because
Yeah.
everybody was doing a King in Black book for like 3 to 4 months
And there was a book called King in Black.
at the same time.
Yeah.
Why can't we have that? You have Realm of X, Alpha Flight. Like,
Yeah.
you can't make room to do just a Fall of X book.
They didn't do a Destiny or Reign.
I
I agree that it is confusing and difficult to follow, but I also
they
think
didn't
that like,
promote like Reign of X in the same way, did
no,
they?
they did not. No, they did not. They did not.
Okay,
say,
that's
like,
what I'm
this is
saying.
the
That
new
was
Dawn of X. This is not. No, they retroactively called them like this is Destiny of X period. Like what? Yeah, no.
Yeah, because Dawn of X, I did remember them promoting, but it was promoted as Hawks and Pox.
Yes,
That's
Hawks
what
and
you
Pox.
read.
Well, Hawks and Pox were the books, and then they were just like move. Like here we go. It's just what we're reading right now.
Yeah.
Later, they called it Destiny of X so they could put it into trades. That's what they're doing with this. It's just that we're in the middle of it now, as opposed to them naming it retroactively.
Oh, I don't. What are
I know.
they doing?
I don't like that.
Yeah.
But I also don't know if it's working or not. Like I'm not going to criticize it necessarily because I don't know if it's
basically trapping you into reading every X-Men book, which comes out to like $50 to $70 a month of you just buying.
But that's
X-Men.
Marvel. Marvel does that, man. They want everybody to read this, like to buy everything. You know?
I'm getting so irritated with that. The more manga that I read, where it's just like I wake up in the morning and I just grab my tablet and next chapter go.
Mm-hmm.
And then like this morning, I'm sitting here. I'm like, all right, we're gonna catch up on Fall of X now that I'm done with Night Terrors. I'm like, all right, I got these 10 different X-Men books. Okay, so hold on.
Yeah.
What order am I reading? Okay. no,
Yeah,
that
but the
doesn't-
different it's a different thing. Like if there were 13 different manga that all took place in the same universe, they'd probably do it the way they were doing it now.
No, there's books that do that, and they don't do that way.
But what do they do?
They just release them.
They're releasing them at Marvel. What do you mean?
No, but I mean, like Attack on Titan had like 4 different things going on at the same time. But
They had 4 different books?
Yeah. It's just they're just all spin-offs.
Right.
And
Oh,
they
but
get
they're
My Hero.
spin-offs, but they're not connected to the main story. They're not.
They are, but they're not.
informing
They're as connected as what's going on in Marvel. The Attack on Titan spin-offs were like, okay, this is before the fall. This is after the fall.
Right.
This is the other unit going on while Aaron and those are doing this. And My Hero Academia's biggest spin-off is called Vigilantes, in which another character is doing things while Deku. Like they're all tied as loosely tied together as the Marvel books, is my point.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. It's just frustrating. It's frustrating to try and follow what's going on when I'm sitting here and I'm just like, why do I spent 45 minutes trying to? I have notes of which Fall of X books I need to cover on the channel to actually cover Fall of X.
Right.
Because I get what you're saying, but I'm telling you, in 5 months it's over. Every book's getting 5 issues.
Oh, absolutely. No, they don't care. Like the fact is, like if you want to follow Fall of X, or if you want to tell people what to read and how to follow it, wait until it's over.
Yeah. Well, no, I found it. It's X-Men and X-Men, X-Force, Immortal X-Men, and Uncanny Avengers, probably.
Yeah.
Those are the 4 that seem to be the most important to the actual plot.
Yes.
So
there you go. I mean, it ain't great. Like there's certainly a better system, but I haven't seen it.
No, the better system is just make the event proper event. Here's Fall of X. You read Fall of
That's
X.
only if it's an event. What is the main story of Fall of X? There isn't one.
The main story, in my opinion, based on what happens in the Hellfire Gala, is what
Yeah.
happens to Charles Xavier, Jean Grey, and the X-Men.
Well, that's what you care about.
But I'm saying out of Hellfire Gala, the way it was staged at the beginning is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now, I'm all for all these spin-offs, how they're reacting to it.
Yeah.
Like, the Children of the Vault almost has nothing to do with Fall of X, but it is a good idea. Like, what happens to the vault when no one's guarding it? Well, the door opens. Duh.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's cool. So we're going to do that story. That's fine. I'm cool with that story.
Yeah.
You know, Wolverine isn't in the Fall of X. Why? He's fighting Ghost Rider. Okay, that makes no sense, but sure, let's go read that. Like,
No, that is a lie. That is just that is another story that they went, oh, let's make it about this instead. I'm like, oh, that's
so I mean, but I'm okay with the idea of here's the like the Dark X-Men. Have you read that one yet?
Dark X-Men. No.
It's really good. And it's a good idea of what happens after the X-Men are gone. What does Madeline Pryor do? I like that. That's fine.
Yeah.
But you need to give me that straight normal. Look back at Secret Empire. How many tie-ins Secret Empire had? But we still had a Secret Empire story.
Right.
And key elements happened in the tie-ins. I mean, in infamously, the MacGuffin weapon was discovered in an Iron Man book.
Yeah.
But you could read that, but you still knew what was happening if you just read the main book.
Yeah.
Just give me a main Fall of X book that follows Xavier, Jean Grey, and that batch of mutant. Make it that. Whatever. I don't care. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can still have all these tie-ins. That's cool because that allows you to deeper dive into what happened. I like that.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Oh, sorry. I had to get off my chest.
That's totally fair. Yeah. No, because what else are we gonna do?
What's going on over at DC right now with Insomnia gone and what everyone wants to disagree with me. I thought Not Terrors was fine. We're getting back into the dawn of DC, and that includes going back to Batman.
Yes.
And what's your thoughts on this? Gotham Wars, Batman versus Catwoman.
This Gotham War, man. This is like a Batman like mini arc that becomes that has like been turned into an event, I think, retroactively. It's just a thing like that's happening in Batman. Like I feel like it's not even the thing that Chip wants to talk about. Like I think that this, I think that the only idea that Chip has for Batman is the Zerana thing, and I think that everything else is just padding until he can get to the Zerana thing.
Okay.
And I feel this. This all feels like decompression and stretching. Like it all feels like, oh, I don't like. It feels like a very talented person who doesn't want to tell this story, who is coming up with how to extend not the story he wants to tell.
Oh,
for as long as he needs
the background.
Yeah, like he's like, oh man, once we get to the Zerana thing, it's gonna blow the doors off this thing. But I also need to apparently extend this by like 6 months. How do I do that? I guess I could. I mean, I could write it, but I'm gonna need a partner on this. Heaney Howard, you want to help me write the story about like attacking the 1%? And it's like,
I actually disagree.
I guess.
I feel like this is a part of the overarching thing because I feel like what this is doing, okay, Chip's picking up on basically disassembling Batman again.
Right. Yes.
And we opened it up with Batman got disassembled and needed Zernar to fight Failsafe.
Yeah.
Then he put away Zernar. So now I feel like Batman needs to have nothing else to rely on because it ended with Zernar's put away because he has the family and he knows what and he has Robin and he knows what Batman is and he beat Joker. Zernar's away. So now we need to take away all of those support elements.
Yep.
So that Zernar can be broken free.
Yeah, but it's like so. You know what I mean? Like I'm looking at this like, okay,
because I think he didn't want to do Daredevil again, where he just tears apart in issue 1 and calls it a day.
Yeah. I'm not hyped about the Zernar thing only because I'm like, is there anything interesting there? Like, is there anything that I want to see that's made with that? Like,
I mean, I feel like we're going back to what did Spider-Man do? Turns out nothing.
Yeah. No, this is at least it's not that. At least it's not that. Like for me, it's not that. I'm very okay.
They were like,
that.
what did Batman do?
Oh my god, I've had enough of what did so and so do, and then go like, we're gonna tell you in a year.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. No, thank you. I'm just like. I read that most recent issue and I read the Batman book. And what's frustrating is like, I read that awful Batman, Catwoman, First Blood, whatever the hell, opening salvo pre-war issue. And that sucked. Like it was
the art that threw me off on that one. I thought the story was okay, but the art just wasn't selling me.
That's Chip's collaborator when it wasn't Chichetto on Daredevil. He brought him over to do Batman, I guess, and but but the new issue, the Batman issue, it's funny. I just got through, like, yesterday. I was complaining all about the most recent issue on our show, where I was like, this is not what I want. Like, I don't like it. Characters are out of character. It's like, it's not a very interesting status quo. We've seen it a million times, blah blah blah. And then the most recent Batman issue I read, and it's great. Like, it's well written.
Yeah,
it's got great art. I kind of get it. And if it's really like, if it feels like it, like the real thing is like, it's like there's this nothing event going on, and Batman has to pretend to care, but in the background he's like, my demons are gonna escape out of my brain.
yeah.
Like, that's the really important thing, and like, I really need people to like just give me a minute. You know what I mean? Because like, and they're like, Batman, what about the 99%? And he's like, that's really yeah, I mean, like, look, I grant you that is a problem, but an evil version of me is going to jump out of my brain and get me, like that. And that's what this book feels like. And he's just like, and so sometimes, he's just like, Jesus, take the wheel. And like, Zerada will clearly take over and beat the living hell out of people. And I'm like, okay. And then there's the issue itself. I was like, this is, it was gripping. I read the whole thing. And I was like, all right, yeah, I kind of dug it.
My problem with it is I actually didn't think anyone acted out of character in the Gotham Wars Alpha issue. But I felt like the entire Bat family turning on Batman, that was pretty out of character. Like, when Dick was like, I'm coming for you, Batman. I'm like,
for me, when Tim was like that, I'm like, what? But what's funny is,
wait, you all sided with Catwoman between the issues?
There's no issue where they do.
And they're just with her.
Yeah. And I'm like, all right, you know what it is, though? We need them to go away because he needs to be alone.
Right.
Like,
I think the point of this is he's gonna lose the fight, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's going to lean more towards Zur-En-Arrh.
Well, I think what he's doing is he's going to lose the family. Like, the Bat family is going to go away, except for Damian, because there's a book called Batman and Robin starring Batman and Damian, and we don't want to screw that up. So, ignoring that, everybody else is going to go away. And what's funny is, for me, like, I've been complaining for years where I'm like, I would really like a story where Batman is alone and like Alfred and Gordon and Batman like fight crime. And we're like dangerously close to that. You know what I mean? Like,
you're not wrong. I mean,
like, Renee Montoya could screw up at any minute and they'll bring back Gordon. Batman could call on Gordon because he needs his help. Alfred could come back from anywhere, anytime, at any point, because they could just fix it, but they won't. And, and then before you know it, it's just Batman in like brooding on a gargoyle doing classic Batman stuff, and the rest of the family have their own books for their own audiences.
Right now, don't they? All except Duke, I think, has a book. Duke has no book right now. The Batgirls are all in the Batgirls. Nightwing has 2 books right now, Titans and Nightwing.
Yeah, that's right.
Tim is the one for Batman and Robin, I think. Is he the one in Batman and Robin, or is it Damian?
No, it's Damian.
Damian? Okay, so Tim's getting kind of pushed to the sidelines again.
Which
is kind of dumb. We just brought him back as Robin.
I know. And he's supposed to be like the Robin of the Batman book, and he's clearly not going to be. So
yeah, I know.
What are we doing here?
He showed up at the beginning of Batman 137, and like midway through, he's like, no, Batman signed with Catwoman.
Yeah. Like, oh, okay. We got that. But I was all set to hate this because I did. And then the most recent Batman issue, I'm like, oh, I mean, this is like a third pitch that in lesser hands would be a terrible story that is instead pretty okay.
Yeah.
If Chip sticks it, which after Daredevil, I'm not sure if he can do. Because I'm not thrilled with Daredevil either.
No, I actually agree with you. I do think Chip can land this. The question is, are we going to like where it goes? Because I do feel like his beginning for this is him trying to do the opposite of what he did with Daredevil, which was the immediate breakdown.
Right.
But that's the story of every super. They always have to lose everything, which I'm getting tired of. I wish we could just have a story where Batman's successful, has everyone, and then wins the day. Just
yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, that's every Batman story at the end of the day, but like sometimes they're bigger than others, and it's weird. It's weird, man. I don't know. I'm not thrilled. It's a weird time where like I'll bet the sales on Batman haven't been higher than they have been in years. Like I'll bet Batman's selling great because Spider-Man is also selling great, and nobody's happy with either of those titles. Or at least if you ask the internet.
Okay. I was gonna say, if you ask the internet, I actually look. Apparently, I have the worst opinions of the world because I like Night Terrors. I like the Batman book. I like what
Right.
they're doing with that. And I don't mind the Zeb Wells Spider-Man book. I will
Yeah.
not say like, because I do feel like every other issue, I'm like, man, Zeb, you're kicking ass. Oh, you.
Oh, what
Oh, you're
is
kicking
that?
ass. Yeah. That's what I
For
mean.
me, that is 100%. The book is just one for editorial, one for me. One
Yeah,
for
that's what it feels
editorial, one
like,
for
right?
me.
It's
And it's
like,
like, don't.
because you have great Peter Parker moments, and then the very next issue, it's like, right, but you got to get rid of Mary Jane.
Yeah, that's right. It's awful. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, no, thank you. Which for me, it doesn't matter if there are like 3 great issues if the whole run is like that.
Yeah, well, and that's the issue. But Batman, I've been on board. I found the multiverse jumping a little wonky, but
Mhm.
it still got the story across, and I don't think he overstayed his welcome with it. He got there,
Yeah.
he did this little story, and then he left.
Right. Yeah. No, definitely.
So, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm actually really liking the start of this Batman event. I also feel
Yeah.
like I want to say we haven't had a Batman event in a while, but I mean we did. Does Batman versus Robin count?
I don't know.
Because it
You know,
became Lazarus Planet.
Exactly. It turned into an event
That's what I mean.
that was not called Batman,
No, it wasn't.
but I don't know.
You know what it is? Almost like they wanted to do a Lazarus Planet era, so they decided to do a giant event.
Yeah, I know. That's funny. Lazarus Planet is an event because there is a book called Lazarus Planet.
Which is my point. My point. There needs to be Fall of X, like a book. But
Yeah.
I also
Yeah.
see your point. I do see your point.
No, but
Don't bill it as an event.
No, that's true. Don't sell it as an event. I completely agree.
And what other comics are going on right now that I've been reading?
Yeah.
I was blitzing down One Piece all weekend, the show and then the comic or
Mhm.
manga.
Are you watching the Netflix show? The
Yeah,
live
we
action,
finished. It's amazing. You should check it out. I
Yeah.
think you and Tiffany would like it.
Mhm.
They toned down a lot of it, but still keep the fantastical elements that make One Piece One Piece. But it's
Right.
toned down to be more of a drama. Apparently it hit numbers of Stranger Things and the other like original.
Oh.
Yeah, like there's talks that if like they're bringing everyone back and they might just continue this because the Stranger Things is over, and One Piece might be the new thing they do.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
I know that Stranger Things. I think it's coming back in 2025.
Well, yeah, but that's the ending.
Yeah. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, that's true. So we're getting one more. But One
all
Piece
right.
could go on forever.
Let's talk about this real quick, and then I got to make it to that dinner. For those who are wondering why the
Yes.
show is going to be a little bit shorter today, there was a lot of misscheduling because a guy got to go pick up from the airport. Thought I was picking him up on Wednesday. Turns out we were doing it today, so things are a little out of whack.
It's fine.
But James Gunn is again being blasted for tweets he did 10 years ago in which he did not like Christopher. Remember when I was just talking about people digging up old tweets?
Yep.
Or I'm complaining about someone grabbing something for 5 days ago, and I still stand by what I said in it. James Gunn's, they're dealing up stuff for 12 years ago. Here, let me read exactly what Dan wrote because he spent a lot of time making a paragraph.
I agree.
James Gunn finds himself in the crosshairs because of some Facebook comments from well over a decade ago, with James Gunn ripping into the Tim Burton Batman movies, stating that they were ridiculous and a travesty of the franchise and one of the most boring films ever. Also stating that Nolan's Batman Begins also sucked. These pages have since been deleted and scrubbed, but many fans are once again questioning whether he should be leading DC or not. However, just as with the last time, fans need to understand that people and opinions change over time, especially 10 plus years.
Exactly.
But definitely an interesting take on the Batman films from the new DC Studios head.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's where we are, right? It's like somebody like it's been slow. You pointed out recently that like we're in a drought of content because of the because of the strike, and so as a result people are like digging up what I mean, like we were talking about that Snow White comment from that young girl who was like Snow White should be a badass, and people were mad, and it's like that interview was like a year or two old. Like, what are you talking about? And it's like, oh, we have nothing else to talk about, let's get mad at her. And it's like, what? Do we need to get mad at anybody? But so they're like, well, I'm already mad about James Gunn having this thing that I don't want him to have. Let's get mad at him over this thing he wrote like 20 years ago. And it's like, oh, okay. I don't care whatsoever about like what a movie director says about another movie, unless it's like, I get the like thought process, right? Because they're like, he's making a DC movie, and if he thinks the best DC movies are the worst, then he's gonna make the worst kind of DC movies. And that kind of like, they should go to college and take a thing called logic, because It's like, I got bit by a tiger. Therefore, all bites come from tigers. It's like, just because he has an opinion, especially at a time, like I loved Spider-Man 2 when I first saw it. If you see it 20 times, you start thinking that Peter Parker is like emotionally abusive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's still a great movie and I still love it. But
Well,
like, I can also
Joker
criticize
Harley relationship when we were kids was like, oh, this is great. This is awesome. They're just villains. And nowadays it's like, no, Joker was abusing Harley.
Exactly. It's really problematic. And it's like, oh, well, then this isn't fun.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not going to defend his tweets, but I'm also like not going to attack that because I don't think it matters.
Oh, it definitely doesn't. I'm not attacking him for that at all.
No, exactly.
I mean, even if he disliked those, like, show me what he can. He made the Suicide Squad. He made all the Guardians of the Galaxies. I have faith in him. Like, it's not like he's coming off the street, never made a superhero movie, and then people are digging up, well, he hated Batman. Oh, shit, now we got to be worried. No, he's made successful projects. So.
Yeah. Now, the fact is, they're the people who have that, like, mentality, have a confirmation bias, like, they're looking for reasons to be outraged.
Yeah.
So they're going to be outraged about anything they can find. Being mad about like him thinking that the Nolan movies. I mean, like I remember when those Nolan movies came out, and I was like, this feels a lot like everyone's just apologizing. Like Warner Brothers, like, oh my god, I can't believe we have to make a freaking Batman movie. Why couldn't we make Harry Potter movies until the end of time?
I mean, I've said on the record, I'm not the biggest fan of the Nolan movies. I think they're good movies, but everyone ranting and raving. I don't like the realistic take on Batman. I don't. I don't like that, the realistic take on the villains. I like the Batman because it's still realistic, but we're leaning to like, okay, Riddler's in a get mask, weird choice, but he's still the Riddler.
Yeah, right. I have had that opinion. I just recently saw like I think it was Dark Knight. And I'm like, this is really good. Like they're really good movies.
I mean, they're good movies, but like in terms of like my favorite Batman portrayal and movies, I mean, no.
So far, I think The Batman might be one of my favorite Batman movies now.
Same here.
I just love it. Yeah.
Next up, Daredevil has been pushed back again till 2024. Not surprised. Writer strikes in limbo. The video game industry is going on strike with that now.
I know. Good.
Yeah.
Let's just take it all off.
And lastly, One Piece live action has broken a record set by Wednesday in the Stranger Things by becoming the top concurrent viewership show in 84 countries. Wow. Stranger Things season 4 in Wednesday previous record was 83 countries. This goes to show that live action adaptations of anime and manga are capable of being good, and this may open the doors for more terrible adaptations to come. Good writing, Dan. Yeah. But hopefully we'll get some more good ones since that too seems possible.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like I said, it's actually I would check it out. It's actually, I mean, you've got zero interest, but it'd be interesting to get your take on it once you like possibly see it.
It's true.
So
yeah,
but it was really good.
I'm glad it's working out because I know that Cowboy Bebop show was friggin' horrible.
Oh, it was terrible. I watched the first episode. It was like, this doesn't even feel like, this felt like One Piece.
Yeah.
So
that's good. I saw it on it was on in a comic book store I was in recently, and then Tiff and I watched a few minutes of it on our TV. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. The Cowboy Bebop or the One Piece?
Both. But the One Piece was on recently, and we watched a little bit of that. That was cool.
Okay. I think you'd actually like it. I really do.
Yeah. No, Bebop was awful.
Bebop was awful.
That was just inexcusable.
That's all we really got today, isn't it? Batman, X-Men, this. Nothing's been going on with Spider-Man, at least not new. We talked about it last week, I think.
Yeah. Nothing in the comics, nothing in the movies, or I did see from the like, what was it? They pushed back all the, they pushed everything, all the Marvel productions. Spider-Man Freshman Year is on that list, so it looks like that cartoon show is still going to be made. That confusing as hell, out of continuity, in continuity, whatever alternate reality cartoon show is still going to be made one day in a few years.
One day.
Can't wait. It's going to be awesome.
That's all we got today. Like I said, there was some misscheduling, and I didn't want to cancel today's show, so we went live a little early so we can end it a little early. But thank you guys for joining us for today's episode of Absolute Comics. We'll be back on Thursday with more reviews, discussions, and what's going on. And I'm Benny. That is Sal. Check out Comic Story and check out Comic Pop, and go see our sponsor, Shortbox. Thank you, and see you next time.